All right, everybody, here we go again. This is my second video that I'm posting here. And man, I had a great time yesterday. I don't know if you guys saw that. If you didn't, you really do need to go back and watch yesterday's post. We talked about forgiveness. I think it was about 17, 18-minute video. But my goodness, did we go in and we went in deep, 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 deep on the topic of forgiveness. So I really do want to encourage you, if you haven't watched yesterday's post, make sure you do it. And you don't have to watch it before this. This isn't a part two. But I do encourage you, when you're done watching this, and of course sharing this with everybody that you know, then go back and watch that first post. If you haven't seen it, I really like you to watch it, because this, again, the topic of forgiveness it's an important topic. We all struggle with it. And I really do believe God gave some amazing insight, and we prayed at the end. It was phenomenal. God really moved. So again, go back and watch it. Check it out. Today, we're gonna talk about something that I'm really excited about discussing. And again, anything that I'm going to be posting on these videos, I believe is necessary content. I believe it's relevant content, in the sense that I'm not going to talk about anything on these videos that I don't think every person watching can relate to and draw something from. So I want to begin just by kind of I'll throw this thought out to you, and the thought is this: there is a difference between relief and remedy. There is a difference between relief and remedy. So let's just start looking at some things from a natural perspective. In the United States of America, I'm trying to look at the statistic. It's somewhere in the 70s. 70% of Americans are on some form of medication. 70-ish percent. Someone, again, I'm sorry, I can't find it. Y'all Google it. If it's not 70, it's extremely high percentage. Whether it is pain medication, blood pressure, cholesterol, sugar, insulin, whatever the medication is, I would dare say that the majority of all medication falls under the category of relief, not remedy. Relief says, make me feel better. Remedy says, make me whole. Relief says we'll maintain this problem, we'll manage it and keep it from going to an extreme. But relief says that healing and wholeness will come in an extreme. Most medications, and we can kind of laugh about it, and most people, when we talk about it, we do laugh about it, but it's a really scary and serious thing. If you look at a medication for depression, for example, they read what it will do: help you with your moods, help you with your mood swings, help you to feel better. For those of you who've been depressed, you've been sorrowful, you've been sad, and it shows these people running through high grassy fields and flowers waving in the wind, the ocean waves cascading one over another on beautiful golden sand, and a father holding his daughter and swinging her by her arms around and around. But while you're seeing all of this, and while they're introducing what all these wonderful things are, there's another voice that comes in, and that voice talks really fast. You also may experience the side effects of, and it goes through diarrhea, bleeding, internal bleeding. And it's hilarious to me, and it's not in a dishonoring or bad way, but it's like, it's so scary funny to me that one of the side effects of most of these antidepressant medications can be severe depression. So just think about, the relief is so weak and anemic that it can actually make you worse. Now, this is no criticism towards anybody taking medication. So get out the comments. Please don't put any bad comments. Put good comments and let me know you're good, okay? Because this isn't any criticism towards people who need medicine. We all take medicine. We all need it from time to time. That's not the issue. The issue is that medicine is man-made. And anything that man makes or man does, it usually falls under the category of relief. This is why Jesus had to come to earth, guys. Come on, are you with me? Put a thumbs up or something. Give me a heart, because this is good stuff. This is why Jesus came, because our solution to sin, it was inadequate. Our works were not enough. We couldn't observe the law. We couldn't obey the 10 Commandments. We couldn't adhere to the Torah. We couldn't do this. We messed up sacrificing. We went away from God. So he had to send a remedy. Because in our fallen state, our works usually just produce things that mask symptoms but don't heal the root. And I just described a lot of church experience right there. Not being critical, but I just described a lot of church experience right there. Because sadly, too many churches have become medication clinics. Come in for an hour and a half. Some of y'all know how to church and you go a long time. But you come in for whatever that time period is. You get all excited, or you cry and you worship, you kneel, whatever. You get a word, you're inspired, and you get back in your car and you're feeling like garbage 5 minutes after you leave. Or you get your faith filled up, feel good, but you're dealing with the same issue with your child. You're dealing with the same issue with your marriage. And it's like, man, that made me feel better, but it didn't free me. It didn't heal me. And it's our responsibility, please hear me, to not limit this precious gospel to relief when Jesus died for remedy. He didn't come to relieve us from sin. He came to save us from sin. He didn't came to give you relief from cancer. He came by his stripes that you would be healed from cancer. And that same healing and that same power is available to us in every area of our life, emotionally, spiritually, financially. And I want to challenge you today, because many of us, because of disappointment in life, because maybe prayers that haven't been answered yet, or just the circumstances in which we were brought up, or maybe the circumstances we're in now, we have allowed ourselves to settle for relief, when the cross is about remedy. You know, when you take a Tylenol because you have a headache, most of you, about 30 minutes after you take it and the Tylenol kicks in, you say, oh, wow, I don't have a headache anymore. Liar, that's not true. You absolutely still have a headache. You just don't know it because it's been masked. And I don't want this precious gospel. I don't want my experience with God. I don't want my experience at a local church to anesthetize my problem. I want that word and my experience with God and my experience with God in my local church to bring freedom. He that the Son sets free is free, and free indeed. He did not come to bring you relief. He came to bring you freedom. Now you say, man, that sounds great, but where is this in the Bible? Let's talk about this. There was a man in Mark chapter 10, more specifically, a blind man by the name of Bartimaeus. Now, in Mark chapter 10, we find Bartimaeus on the side of the road begging. Now, what was he begging for? Most of you know the answer. He was not begging for his sight. He was begging for money. Now, why did he need money? Because he didn't have sight. Okay, pretty simple, but stay with me. Because of his physical condition, his lack of sight, he was incapable of working. He was incapable of earning his own income. So he had a fruit problem and a root problem. The fruit problem was that he was broke and had no money. That was the fruit problem. But the root to that fruit was that he had a sight problem. He was blind. He couldn't see. And again, because of his blindness, he was incapable of working. So a root problem and then a fruit problem. So in Mark chapter 10, what do we find him doing? Going after the fruit. Money, money, money. I need this, I need that. How many people get a handout just to be in a deficit 6 months later? You bail them out, you help them out financially, but they're back in the same mess because you gave them some fruit, but the root of what's causing their financial issues was never dealt with. This is where Bartimaeus was in Mark chapter 10. Same place that most of us are when we sit on our seat in our local church every Sunday. Going after root stuff. I want to be happier. I want to have a better marriage. I want to have a better business. I want to be a better me. Okay, how? If you're not willing to go to the root of the fact that you've never been healed from the abandonment issue, and you've never been healed from the father wound, and you've never been healed from what your mother did to you, you've never been healed from that first or second marriage, how is anything going to get better? Fruit, 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 and we don't go after the root. And that's what was happening with Bartimaeus. Here he is on the side of the road, begging for help with his fruit. Money, relief. That's all fruit is, relief. But here's the problem with Tylenol and relief in general. Here's the problem with Bartimaeus is begging. If you have a headache and you take an aspirin, the minute that aspirin or Tylenol wears off, guess what you have to do again? Take another one. Same thing with all forms of medicine because it's relief. Bartimaeus was looking for money, relief. Which means whatever he made that day, he would spend that night and would be right back out the next day in the same cycle over and over. And that is why you're stuck in a cycle. Hey, if you're stuck in a cycle of dysfunction, a cycle of poverty, a cycle of feast and famine, you have a lot, then you don't, a cycle of dysfunctional relationships, a cycle of abusive relationships, I promise you, you're stuck in those cycles because you are going after relief in your life, not remedy. Because once remedy comes, bam, the cycle's broken. Once Bartimaeus had his sight, why would he ever have to beg? He didn't have to beg. He could get a job. He could work. He could function the way he was supposed to function because when Jesus passed by, something shifted in Bartimaeus where he said, today is going to be different. Today, because of who's walking by, I am not going to ask for relief. I'm going to cry out for remedy. I'm not going after something that will make me better and get me by another day, but keep me stuck in the cycle. No, today. I feel God on that. Today, I'm going after something that's going to bring such freedom that I'm going to break the cycle. I'm going to break the generational pattern. I'm going to break the generational curse. If you shift from going after relief, just the stuff that makes you feel better, the fruit, and you start going after the root, cycles will break. Generational curses will break. Generational patterns, they'll come to a screeching halt. They'll end. Why would any of us cheapen the power of the blood or take away from the greatness of the work of the cross by letting God become a spiritual aspirin when he can be the eradicator of every root that's causing every problem in our life? Man, I hope your heart is getting stirred. Let me know. Come on, I want to see some comments. I want some thumbs up and some hearts. Let me know if you're liking this, if this is resonating with you. And may you get fed up. I hope you feel it in me. I don't want relief when God has promised me a remedy. I don't want to be better in places of my life when I've been promised wholeness in those places of my life. I don't want to settle for that. I'm praying right now, and I really do feel God on this. I'm praying in my heart right now that this would be a Bartimaeus moment. How can that be, though? First, you got to recognize the presence of Jesus. And he's here with us. You're one, I'm one, and I'm sure there's another one as well watching. And where two or three are gathered, touching anything, he's going to be there. And he's going to do what we ask. I'm praying that you would perceive the presence of Jesus in this moment. That you would perceive his moving, the moving of his spirit on your heart. And that you would begin like Bartimaeus to rise up in faith and say, today I'm done. I'm done settling for relief when my God has made a way for me to have remedy. I'm not going to settle for fruit being dealt with. I'm going after the root. And I pray that God would do that in you. I do. I pray that as you pursue healing and wholeness, spirit, soul, and body, that you would never settle for relief when he's promised you a remedy. Now listen, everything that I'm talking to you about today, this whole concept on relief, remedy, as a matter of fact, it's all in the new book that's coming out, Healing Hurts, the book that I'm releasing November 4th. I'm so excited about this. It's being published by Charisma Media. And there's an entire chapter. We actually call the chapter Relief or Cure. In the book, it's called Relief or Cure. I'm talking about the idea of relief or remedy today, but it's relief or cure in the book. But we talk about not only Bartimaeus, but there are two or three other biblical accounts, and I'm not going to tell you them on this video. You're going to have to get the book. But I go through several other Bible stories of people who had the same opportunity that Bartimaeus had to shift their thinking. I'm begging for money all these days I'm out here, but today, no, not today. I'm going to beg for the relief or for the remedy. I'm going to beg for the cure. All of this is in Healing Hurts. Like I said, there's a whole chapter on it. And we are going to put the link for the book. We're going to pin that as our top comment. The link for the Amazon link for the book will be pinned there as our top comment. If you haven't gotten the book yet, go ahead and get it now. And I encourage you to not just get one copy, get a couple copies. There's someone that you know that needs it, someone that will be encouraged by it. So again, if you haven't gotten the book yet, please do so now. The Amazon link is pinned in our top comment. So go ahead and grab that. And if you've not shared this video out yet, if you've not given this out to your friends and your subscribers and all your followers and all that good stuff, what in the world are you waiting on? Come on, this is a good conversation. We've had a great time. So get this out to as many people as you possibly can. And I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Remember, do not settle for relief when God has made a way for you to have a remedy. Don't settle for being better when God has made a way for you to be whole. See you next time.